from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
In the last 20 minutes, the San Diego City Council voted to approve the mayor's 2021 budget proposal. This comes after 12 hours of public comment, many asking for the City Council to cut the budget for the San Diego Police Department. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Our 10 News reporter Anthony Pura has been following that meeting, and while the police budget was not touched, there were several other big changes.
The San Diego City Council budget meeting went into the night Monday. Those looking to take part in public comment were asked to call in because of COVID-19, and hundreds weighed in. The calls were almost all focused on the San Diego Police Department's budget, and an overwhelming majority called on the San Diego Police Department to be defunded entirely or face massive cuts.
We need to listen to the citizens, and we need to defund the police department right now.
The phone lines can hold up to 148 phone calls at a time. City leaders closed the queue when it filled up, took the calls, then reopened the lines for more.
And remember who you work for. If you don't vote to defund police, we will elect people who will.
The mayor's proposed budget calls for the police department to receive more than $500 million. It includes an increase from last year. Callers say they'd rather see all or a large chunk of that money go to community services like homelessness, mental health, and education. The conversation is happening as several police department budgets across the country have fallen under the microscope following the death of George Floyd. The Minneapolis City Council already announced it intends to dismantle their police department. San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer's regular news conference took place in the middle of the City Council budget meeting, and he addressed the frustrations towards policing.
And we both agree that at the end of the day, the San Diego Police Department needs to be effective, accountable, transparent, and above all else, have the trust of the public.
He said he had conversations with the police chief and the public should expect some announcements next week. He also added he supports creating the city's first office of race and equity.
We have heard the voices of the public these past so many weeks. To end racism, we need systemic change. This office, I believe, will be a step in that direction. This new office would help eliminate barriers as it relates to city contracting, city policies, and developing stronger relationships with the community.
Anthony Pura, 10 News.
Mayor Faulconer just sent us a statement. He did not directly address the request by many constituents to defund police. He did say in part, quote, "While the COVID-19 crisis has stretched our budget, we cannot afford to let this moment pass without laying the foundation for the systemic changes our communities are calling for." He goes on to say, "I've spent the last week working with some of our city council leadership, and I fully support their budget modifications." The council's budget also includes adding full library hours. It also includes millions of dollars for rental relief and small business relief as well. It also creates the city's first office for race and equity.
And happening tomorrow, the city of Chula Vista will vote on a resolution to purchase 22 new police cars. In December of 2018, the city issued a bid for 12 pursuit vehicles for the police department. It selected Wondry's Fleet Group to purchase those vehicles. After review, the city decided 22 vehicles would be needed for the next fiscal year. It will cost the city just over $939,000. The meeting will start at 5 p.m.
San Diego Assemblyman Todd Gloria is co-authoring legislation to ban the carotid restraint here in California. Police departments all across the state, including here in San Diego County, have already stopped using it. And new tonight, Los Angeles Police Department says it has just issued a moratorium of the carotid restraint as well. But Gloria's bill would create a uniform state policy. A carotid restraint involves rendering a person unconscious by compressing the sides of the neck. It can be lethal or cause permanent damage if done wrong.
As George Floyd's family prepares for his private funeral tomorrow, thousands of mourners paid their respects today at a church in Houston. Floyd's death has ignited a nationwide debate about policing. ABC's Alex Prochet reports on the action some cities are already taking.
2 weeks after his death, George Floyd celebrated by his hometown of Houston. Thousands of mourners braving 90-degree Texas heat to pay their respects.
I'm passionate about justice, equality, fairness, rightfulness, brotherhood, sisterhood, unity.
Those mourners linked by a city and a cry for change.
This man whose death has changed the world, he's changed the world. You have to come. You have to. I can't explain it.
Inside the church, social distancing, just 15 people at a time, in masks and gloves. Earlier in the day, former Vice President Joe Biden met with Floyd's family privately for more than an hour. A family attorney tweeting he listened, heard their pain, and shared their woe.
The Floyd family grateful for this outpouring, but all of this was happening as fired Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was making his first court appearance.
Appearing by remote in an orange jumpsuit and a blue face mask, prosecutors laying out the second-degree murder case, the judge setting bail at $1.25 million. And now, with more scrutiny of police departments across the country, there's a growing call to outright abolish or defund police departments in some areas, diverting some police funds to other social programs. The Minneapolis City Council announcing it intends to dismantle its department, the mayor announcing a new coalition to provide more economic inclusion for people of color. Other cities also putting together plans to partially defund the police, New York City shifting some NYPD funds to youth programs. LA planning to cut as much as $150 million from its police budget. President Trump says it's not going to happen.
There won't be defunding. There won't be dismantling of our police. We're going to talk about ideas how we can do it better and how we can do it, if possible, in a much more gentle fashion.
Alex Perche, ABC News, Houston.
And the local surf community is continuing to show its solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. Just hours ago, surfers paddled out at Wind and Sea Beach in La Jolla to honor the life of George Floyd. A large group also gathered on the shore for a moment of prayer. The organizers say they want this to be a moment where people can come together in peace.
And the sheriff's department is trying to figure out the identity of a man who assaulted a protester yesterday in the South Bay. What you just saw happened in Imperial Beach. The man who was hit is Marcus Boyd. He says a group of people were throwing eggs at the protesters, and when Boyd tried to take a picture of them, someone came from behind and sucker punched him in the back of the head. Boyd tells 10 News that seeing it on video makes it even worse because he realizes the attacker was trying to seriously hurt him.
We will win this peacefully if we continue. We cannot let them win. They don't deserve to win. They're not on the right side of history.
Boyd says he woke up today with a sore neck and throbbing headache.
She was a ball of life. She really enjoyed making people laugh and smile.
A local family mourning the death of their teenage daughter. She was killed in a hit and run early Saturday morning in an unincorporated area of Escondido. This is 17-year-old Kirsten Tomlinson. A suspect is in custody for her death. 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo spoke exclusively to the teenager's parents, who say their daughter had big dreams.
Friends and family set up this memorial here for Kirsten Tomlinson. The 17-year-old was here when she was hit and killed. According to her family, the driver never stopped. All of this just feet from her home.
She was energetic, loving.
Kirsten Tomlinson wanted to be a model. Her parents say she was always taking pictures.
She always wanted to do just the perfect spot, the perfect picture. If it wasn't perfect, it was redone 100 times.
Yeah. On Saturday morning, just after midnight, Tomlinson was with her siblings and some friends just down the road from her house on Mesa Rock Road. The group was ready to head inside for the night. Tomlinson was crossing the street when she was hit by a car. The driver took off.
It's a parent's worst nightmare.
Her dad, William Tomlinson, says he attempted CPR, but it was too late.
But I'm never going to have her back now because somebody is irresponsible.
CHP put out the description about a possible suspect car. After seeing it on the news, someone called in with a tip, leading to the arrest of 29-year-old Paul Anthony Lasona. Kirsten's parents thankful for whoever called in the tip.
I need to thank her. And if for some reason, understandably so, she doesn't want to be, we need her to know how grateful we are.
Tomlinson was finishing school at Escondido High School and also hoped to one day be a marine biologist or veterinarian. Now her family looking for comfort in all of the pictures she left behind.
She took so many pictures, and I'm so grateful that she did.
In Escondido, Laura Acevedo, 10 News.
The driver is charged with felony hit-and-run charges, and a CHP spokesperson says other charges are being considered.
Schools could look very different if students are allowed back on campus in the fall. Today, the state released this 55-page list of recommended guidelines and protocols. That includes keeping 6 feet of social distancing, and when that's not possible, the kids will need to wear their masks. Even more difficult, the state is recommending a schedule mixed between going to school and distance learning from home. That would limit the number of children and staff on campus each day, and drop-off and pickup times could be staggered. Parents we talked with said this could be nearly impossible with their work schedules.
That's going to be crazy. I think that's going to be a little bit of a problem, possible some difficulties for the parents.
Local education officials are also worried about a shortage of teachers. And this will be a big week for reopenings here in our county. Starting Friday, all gyms can reopen, including community swimming pools. Bars and wineries can also begin operating. Hotels can resume accepting guests for tourism and individual travel. Zoos can also reopen. And then late today, the state did announce movie theaters can reopen at 25% capacity and a maximum of 100 people. Meantime, the parking lots reopened at Mission Beach today, and tomorrow all beach parking lots, piers, and boardwalks, they will open back up. Arizona visitor John Johnson watched the beach crowds get bigger all weekend.
I've seen it grow every day, like between Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday was huge. Pacific Beach was loaded with people, the bars and everything along the beach, and the beach was just packed too.
And on Friday, the Central Mesa at Balboa Park, along with all of its parking lots, will also reopen.
Here are the latest coronavirus numbers. The county reported 143 new cases today, bringing the total to 8,600. There were no new deaths reported, so the total remains 296.